And I think we're ready to get started.
All right.
You ready to go, Sharon? You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's
All
do
right.
this.
Awesome. I'd like to welcome everyone to Harnessing Financial Insights to Maximize Profits in 2025. I am Niki Acosta, and I am very, very excited to be joined by Sharon Burch today, and I'll let her introduce herself in a minute. Uh, First, let me tell you why we're doing this. We talk to a lot of pros, and one thing that we find that is pretty consistent in our industry is that folks really struggle with having real-time financial info on their business to be able to assess the health of their business. So we wanted to bring this session to you. This is a session that Sharon has delivered for us at our Austin Pro Summit, and
Yeah.
she's pretty active in our pool deck community. And we've had great feedback from the folks that have worked with her. So we wanted to invite her here today to be able to share her knowledge and wisdom with you all. So thank you all for joining. Again, if you're just joining, you have a Q&A box that you can expand by hovering over your Zoom window. And from there, you can ask us questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can, and we will have a Q&A that follows. If for whatever reason we can't get to your question, we will follow up with you after the webinar. In addition to that, we will also record this presentation and send it to all folks who have registered. So for whatever reason, if you need to dip out, that's totally okay. We'll make sure that you get the recording following the presentation. And with that, Sharon, introduce yourself.
Hey, so my name is Sharon. I'm in South Carolina. My husband and I, we bought a pool business a while back, and my specialty is admin software setup and QuickBooks. It was really important to both of us that we had our QuickBooks set up and connected so that we could have financial reports that were accurate all year long so that we knew how we were doing as a business. And that is kind of my special sauce that I brought in from other businesses before that. And then I discovered that other people needed the same thing. So now it's turned into a whole thing where I help other pool businesses set up their QuickBooks customized for their unique business and help them get the data that they need to make decisions all year long. So there you go,
The
Niki.
obligatory about Skimmer slide. So we are here to help. We want to transform the industry, and we are here to help you build a great business. And we do that through software, through support, and through educational content like this, through our community at the pool deck. We are now servicing almost 1 million pools. And we've got over 30,000 users now. And so for those of you who are using Skimmer, thank you so much for being a part of our growth. We are absolutely excited to bring you this type of content. And with that, Sharon, it's all yours.
All right, let's go. So today we're going to make the most of the time that we have together and give you as much information as I can possibly share in this time. So let's get started. We're going to cover the top 3 key metrics that every pool service business should monitor monthly, not the end of the year, but monthly, even when it's crazy in the heat of the summer. Using those profit and loss reports to make data-driven decisions like, do I have enough money to buy that pool service truck or not? Should I take advantage of that big deal of bulk chemical or whatever it might be? So having financials that are always up to date and connected will be able to give you real information and you don't have to shoot from the hip, as they say, or kind of guess. So those benefits of customizing those financial reports for different revenue streams, I'll share what that is in a minute. And then how you can leverage QuickBooks and Skimmer Billing, which will save you a ton of time when you do this. And time-saving tips in preparing for your 2024 tax season and and for going forward from year to year. So what are those key metrics? I'm going to move this around a little bit so I can see my own slides. There we go. The key reports you need to monitor monthly, and why do you need them? And what do you need in order to create them? So when I showed this to my husband, he just kind of geeked out. He loved being able to see all these numbers and do comparative analysis from year to year. So the value of accurate financial reports for your business is what I already mentioned. How's your business doing? Are you profitable, or do you need to make some changes? And having accurate reports, like the numbers are accurate. So there's ways to do that. And then second, which we're thinking about now, is that year-end tax reporting is ready to go. So believe it or not, if you're one of those people that stuck your receipts in a shoebox all year long, and then you dread the day that you have to get ready for taxes, you can do things all year long that avoids that mess at the end. And actually, with a couple of clicks of a button, you have the reports you need for your tax preparer. And then this third part is something that isn't talked about a lot, but I think it's really critical, especially to the business owner. Financial reports that are ready for potential buyers. So no matter what's happening in your life today, like if you think you're going to run this pool business for the next 5 to 10 years, that's absolutely fine. But if you take a moment to kind of step back and think, okay, if the worst case scenario happened that I was forced to sell my business due to a life, happening, a critical health issue, something, would my books be ready to go? But when you start to think about looking at it as a potential buyer, it actually helps you as a business owner kind of see the numbers that you really need to see for yourself to see how you're operating. So it's just a great example. And then the bonus is it is ready. If that day comes, you're ready to sell. There's not a lot of extra work you need to do to be ready for that. So customize financial reports to attract the top buyers when you're ready. And I'll share a little bit more about that as we go along. So these are the basics. I don't want to assume that anybody already knows these, so we'll kind of skim through them. Every business owner, regardless of what type of business it is, needs the following key reports: the balance sheet, the profit and loss, the statement of cash flow. And then we're going to get into the more specifics for a pool business, which is different. So a balance sheet is going to show what a business owns and what it owes at a fixed point in time. So just in a broad stroke here, the assets, like the value of your pool service trucks. If you have an office building, the value of that. If people owe you money, there's anything that would be the assets that is worth, like you've had to cash out, that's what it would be. And then your liabilities, what you owe people. Maybe you have some loans that you've taken out. So knowing that, the true balance, or the balance of your and value of your business. Profit and loss is what we tend to look at the most, and that you monitor at a minimum monthly. Weekly is even better, but monthly for sure. And that's showing you how much money your business is making or spent over a period of time. So, of course, this is a critical one. And this is just a snapshot of your income. So, your service and repair income, your product income that you're selling, and then you subtract the cost of those chemicals, the cost of those parts that you purchased to do that business to get your gross profit. And then the expenses of actually operating your business so that you know what your true net income is. And then the statement of cash flows. This one doesn't get talked about very often, but this is a report that helps you know, okay, what you can kind of forecast how your business is going to do. So if you know how much money you think is going to flow in and out of your business based on what's already happened. So it's a really important document, and also the actual cash that you have at the end of a specific period. And then this is where we get into what's unique to the pool business: customized reports for the pool service business. So how I look at this is by answering the question that I mentioned earlier: if someone wanted to buy your business, what would they want to know? What would they want to see? And so going through this a few times with different clients, I can tell you that there are different ways that you can sell a pool business. And if you purchase one, you already know this, but I won't assume everybody has the same knowledge, that you can just sell routes, or you can sell your entire business. But if somebody is interested in just purchasing your routes, in the beginning, they just want to see the numbers. And to kind of keep things safe, they don't even know who they're talking to or what that pool business's name is. They just want to see the numbers, and the broker shares those. So if your reports are already set up and customized so that you show your pool service income and your profit and loss for your pool service, And your chemical income, they always want to know what your chemical income is, and what that profit and loss is. Then you already have your reports ready to go. And then they'll want to see, okay, well, what was your profit and loss for your pool repair side of your business? And what's your admin cost? And then they'll always ask, what's those owner add backs? So I'll show you what that looks like. Is there anything else? And then I always ask the question, is there anything else that you as the pool business owner wants to track in your business? And that's where you start and how you're going to customize your QuickBooks. So kind of talk through these, but I'll just recap. So pool cleaning labor income and expenses, pool maintenance labor income and expenses, pool chemical income and cost of goods sold, pool repair parts income and cost of goods sold, and the owner add backs or one-time business expenses. And what I mean by that is I like to set up QuickBooks so that you're seeing the operation of your pool service business in normal circumstances. But as we're trying different things out, like maybe there was a billboard or a set of billboards along a specific highway, thought, it'd be great to put advertising on that. I wonder if that would bring in more business. I might put that in a one-time business expense because it really doesn't have anything to do with the day-to-day operations. So setting it up so that you can see those kind of pulled off to the side so that a potential buyer and you yourself knows how is it operating, and then here's the kind of my one-time decisions or owner expenses or owner add backs. And then you can get reports like this. So here's an example of what I mean by that. And if you see my arrow moving around, that's because I'm moving our little heads and stuff out of the way. So I just took kind of a sample pool service business, and the piece that I would like for you to look at, and I know that this may be really tiny on your screen depending how you're looking at it, so I promise I will show something that's easier to read. But as a comparison, this is a fake month of August 2024, and when you go down to the bottom line, you'll see that there is definitely a difference, but it's pulling from the same data, the same numbers. So what's different? So I've kind of shown circles so that you can see that if you're looking on the left side, it says that the total income is 95,000. And on the right side, you see 96. So there's a little difference there in a discount and credits that's showing up over here, right? The big difference is down at the bottom net income, one of them says 19,000 and the other one says 33. Well, that's a big gap. What happened if we're looking at the same numbers? Well, this is the magic of setting up your QuickBooks so you can see on the left, here's my not specified because we've got to fix that. We got to put it in a class. The blue column is the owner add backs or one-time decisions that are not part of the normal process, or maybe you paid yourself a salary. I like to put that over on the owner side. And then facility and property expenses like rent or utilities, but it has nothing really to do with the pool routes and that operation. So when you start to put in those extra expenses like your own salary or a special purchase of an advertisement like a billboard, I would put over in the owner side, then you go, oh, now only is 19,000. But if you pull a different report with the colored lanes out of there, now you see the true operating net income is 33,000. And then you feel, oh, okay, operating, I'm doing okay. And it's because of these decisions that it was 19,000. And having the flexibility of seeing that helps you decide, do I want to do that big decision? Or whatever that is. Those are the types of reports I'm talking about, really helps you understand your business. So how do we get there? How do you create accurate financial reports? Number one, you have to include every transaction in QuickBooks. I have talked to several pool service business owners who are so focused on the income, which is the right thing to do, that they kind of put the expenses off to the side. But the expenses matter. Because at the end of the day, you, the owner, only gets what is left over. And you need to understand where your expenses are. And you need to understand if those expenses were legitimate ones that you really needed to make. Or did you just think, yeah, I need a little extra of that? Or yeah, I should have an extra pool, extra pump in the back room that sits there for years and you never actually put it in a pool, right? Those types of things can kind of eat at your bottom line. And if you don't have an accurate accounting of every transaction, you don't know where you're losing those pieces. And some of those are simple decisions to make a change. So if it includes money, it needs to be documented in QuickBooks, not in Skimmer. Skimmer's whole role is for that operation side of servicing the customer. I would highly advise billing from there, but it should not have your loan payments and your loans and all of that. That is only going to show you that part of your business. And then in QuickBooks, you're going to see all the expenses. Make sure you assign a class to every transaction. That's how I was to create those reports that you saw a minute ago. And those expenses matter. So make sure that when you have expenses, that you are doing the line items of this much was for chemicals that we needed, this much were for parts, and this part was for supplies in order for our team to be able to do their job. And then you start to get some really great reports. Now, if that starts to feel overwhelming, if you've not already been doing this, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of transactions, especially when you start talking about expenses. Because on the income side, it's pretty automated, especially if you're using the Skimmer billing, and that's set up. But how do you keep up with the expenses side? Well, here's a few tips. And that's where we kind of get into the weeds when I'm working with a client, but I'll show you what those are. So first of all, on the income, I would highly recommend using the Skimmer online payments and the automated payout integration. Now, if you've not already done this and set it up, it will save you a ton of time. It is critical that you set up your settings. And what I'm showing you is a screenshot inside Skimmer where you go down on the left side where it says integrations and QuickBooks Online. And then you would choose one default income account, but that's just your default. Over on the QuickBooks side, you're going to get more granular and edit your products and services. For your payments, you want it to go to undeposited funds. And then if you turn on the Skimmer payout feature at the bottom, you're going to put in whatever your business checking account is that the payouts go into, and then whatever processing account you want here. If you have it set up something like this, but with your account names, then every time that you have a batch of customers who paid online and it processed, it's going to go into QuickBooks and automatically create a bank deposit. And when you see the payout come into your bank feed in QuickBooks, all you have to do is match it. And it's all booked with all the invoices. So it takes literally less than a minute to match those when it's set up appropriately. Ton of time is saved.
Can we back up? Sharon,
yeah.
I know we've got questions coming in, but can you repeat again what that QBO sync enables?
Yeah.
The payout sync?
Yeah. So the bottom, and this is new as of like July of this summer, I think. So before, if somebody paid online in Skimmer, so you turn it on, you have it connected, they click the button, and they either have their credit card connected or it's auto charging, whichever one of those things. I guess it's the same thing. But anyway, when the credit card is processed, then as you know, in Skimmer, the invoice, once it's paid, then it syncs over to QuickBooks. And on the QuickBooks side, it's going to create an invoice and a payment. And then when the payment is received on the QuickBooks side, the setting should be that the payment goes to undeposited funds, not the bank account. Even though it's literally going into the bank account, it needs to go into undeposited funds. And then it's going to create a digital bank deposit, which will have all of the invoices that were paid in Skimmer already checkmarked, already created, already checkmarked. And at the bottom, it will subtract the processing fee so it matches the actual amount that you received in your bank account. And all you have to do is just click match. All the bookkeeping is accurate.
And that's great because you don't want to pay
That,
taxes on that amount, right? You know, right?
yeah, right, exactly. And it's before this payout integration was created, you needed to go in and check mark all of the matching, uh, the billing summary and the billing detail. You had to find the, well, I might be getting too granular, so I'll finish my statement and I'll move on. But the payment processor is called Stripe. So Skimmer is connected to Stripe. When the credit card is paid, it's actually going through the merchant of Stripe to do the handling of processing. They have to get paid somehow, so they take out a percentage for handling that processing. So that's subtracted. So if somebody pays you $100, then that percentage is subtracted for that processing fee. And so before, you had to match the code of a batch of payments that came in one day, and then you had to find that amount that was the processing fee and subtract it, add it to that bank deposit, and then it would match the actual amount of cash that landed in your bank. Now that's all automatically done for you. If you didn't understand half of what I just said, don't worry about it. If the settings are right, it works. Was that what the clarification you were looking for? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so the income side is now very, very easy. Then on the expenses side, it can get a little tricky, and you do have to train the people on the team to do a few things, but you can simplify this. So first of all, if the business owner has the QuickBooks Online app on their phone, and they have a physical receipt, they go in someplace and there's a receipt, and if they scan it with their phone in the QuickBooks Online app, it'll automatically upload to QuickBooks, and it'll read the date, it'll read the company name off of that receipt, and then the person doing the bookkeeping has the data they need. And if you take it one step further and work out kind of a little code, like this is for chemicals or this is for whatever, anyway, those documents will already be in QuickBooks, and then it's a lot faster to book those expenses in QuickBooks. And just a side note, only people who are registered users in QuickBooks are able to do that. So, the typical pool tech who you don't have any access to your QuickBooks would not be able to do that, but the business owner could. The other thing you can do is forward email receipts to a custom QuickBooks email that you can set up. So every time, for an example, Pool 360, SCP, everybody calls it something different, but if you're purchasing supplies from them, they will typically send a automated email with that sales receipt or the order if you have an order that is going to be paid later. You can set up a forwarding from your inbox into QuickBooks so that those receipts all land in your QuickBooks, and then the person doing the bookkeeping can just add the detail and get it into recreate a bill in the QuickBooks side so that you have accurate line items. You can also connect to a Google Drive and upload receipts from your computer, or just either one of those. Upload receipts from your computer that you've scanned, or add receipts to a Google Drive folder, and then the person doing the bookkeeping can connect the QuickBooks to it, and they'll have the receipts right there. So it just saves a ton of time and makes everybody happier, including your tax preparer at the end of the year. You could also create rules in the bank and credit card transaction feed, meaning if, let's say that your cell phone provider is Verizon. So every time there's a Verizon expense that hits your business credit card, you'll see that in QuickBooks, and you can create an automation rule that says when you see Verizon, you book that as a cell phone expense in the right place for your profit and loss. And then you just see it, you go, yep, that looks right, and you click add. and it's ready to go. No typing, just the click of a button. QuickBooks will say you can turn this on as an auto rule, but don't turn that on until you have actually seen each one of them and you start to trust that the rules are accurate, so that you don't end up with a mess you have to clean up. You can also create recurring transactions. Let's say that you have a loan payment and you need to make the same amount of a loan payment every month. You can create a recurring transaction that creates that bill on what, and then when you see that payment go out, because your payment is automated as well, it will match to that bill and it's already done for you, right? So you just approve it, you review it, you go, yep, that looks right, and you click add, accept, whatever the word is right there. And then just remember that if the loan is paid off, that you stop the recurring transactions so it doesn't look like you pay more or need to owe more money. Okay. Warning, financial reports are worthless if they're not accurate. Is not accurate, it's nothing you can trust. You have to be able to trust it. So customizing QuickBooks with automation and consistent updates ensures accurate financial reports. And once you can trust that, I have a thing that I'm breaking up. Is my internet going out on me?
It was a second ago. I just actually asked our panelists if they witnessed the same thing.
Okay, are we good? Let me know.
You're good now.
Okay, it might be mine. I saw something pop up. So I can always repeat something if that happens again. So how do we go about that? Is the initial setup, make sure that that's set up so it's customized for your pool service business. And then update QuickBooks weekly. Don't let those expenses and those receipts pile up, because the more they pile up, the more you'll dread doing them, and you don't have accurate books without that information in your QuickBooks. So I highly recommend that on Thursday or Friday, like Thursday, you go, hey, do I have all the receipts? Do you check for it? Friday, you update the transactions weekly and then reconcile monthly. That's like, you have to, because it's the cash that is going through your bank account, the cash that went in and out of your bank account, and the payments that went in and out of your business credit card. Those, that, cash is king. So that's when you look at that actual statement and you reconcile it with your QuickBooks and yes, this matches, this is right, my numbers in QuickBooks are accurate. Then you can look at those reports and go, I know they're accurate because I just reconciled them. So monthly is a minimum to do that. And then if you're doing that all year long, by the end of the year, all you have to do is just click a couple of buttons and you will have the reports that your tax preparer needs. There'll be very little more that they need. It's already ready for them. So the benefits of automated reports: customize and automate key reports. This is another feature you can have. Once you know this is working well, you have the reports you need, you can automate those to be emailed to your inbox at whatever rate you want, once a week, once a day, because we want to make sure that all of the transactions are updated before you send a report, or else those reports won't be accurate, and monthly at a minimum. Okay, so if it's customized for your business and updated monthly at a minimum, what's the results? Your QuickBooks will be streamlined, ready for those up-to-date reports. You'll know the financial health of your business. You can make decisions, and it's ready to share with the tax preparer. It's for the business owner. This is something I want to reiterate. Oftentimes we feel like, okay, bookkeeping is something that has to be done because we have to have our taxes at the end. But QuickBooks is really for the business owner. It's not for the accountant. It's truly designed for you to have reports that you know how you're doing as a business. And so once it's set up and you have all these things that you see, I've already talked about, then it is something you can start to trust and feel really confident in exactly where you're at and know what decision you should make. I also highly recommend that either you, the business owner, or somebody that's really close to the business that you trust understands how it's set up and what those reports mean. So that, and then when you get to that point, you can kind of like train and delegate. But that's kind of a personal decision. And in our relationship, my husband does all the outside management and all of the systems and operations, and I take care of all the admin and get the reports all ready. So it's a little bit different for everybody. Um, all right. So
We're
think I
breaking
just
up a
kind of
little
went too
bit.
far there. So
Yeah, I think
let's
you're,
back up a minute there, Nikki.
and I know Sharon, it
I
looks like,
am breaking up.
yes, you are. We do have some questions coming into chat.
Okay.
Do you want to do Q&A and then we can cover the workshops now. So we've got a couple of really great workshops. We have Justine Ray as a panelist here, but she manages the Skimmer community. And we have a couple of workshops that will help walk you through creating some of these automated reports. Basically, there's different sessions depending on if you include chems or don't include chems. But if you would like to join those, they are free. It's a deeper dive into some of what we've discussed today. And you do not need to be a Skimmer customer to join the pool deck. The link is down there at the bottom in the middle, but you can join at the pooldeck.getskimmer.com. And we've got a ton of really great stuff there. We've got some forums based on what region you're in so that you can be able to build a community kind of in your own neck of the woods, wherever you may be. And it's a really great place to buy and sell routes, to meet other pros, to get advice, to ask questions. So if you'd like to join the pool deck and attend one of these upcoming sessions, please do so.
Okay, cool. I think this is taking me out to the pool deck here. And let's see if I can go there this way. The other thing I would say, in case somebody has to hop off, is anybody's welcome to reach out to me. There's a QR code. I'll leave it up for a minute and I'll bring it back. And do 30-minute free calls. I will tell you that my schedule is filling up pretty quickly, but just to talk through, see what you have. But right now, let's just dive into the Q&A, and hopefully my internet will be stable. I could connect to my hotspot if we feel like it's still too unstable.
Or
What do you
kill your
think there,
camera.
Niki?
You can kill your camera. That might help a little bit.
Okay, we'll give it a shot. Is that better?
Great. So we have a question from Trey. He says, can you have two income accounts if you track residential and commercial separately?
Yeah, great one. And I'm going to pop over to here. And I apologize for that as well. So Trey and anybody, this is kind of that deeper dive that I'll go into in those workshops, but the answer is yes. So let's just imagine that the way you want to see your income is you want to see residential pool cleaning income and then commercial pool cleaning income. You would need, this would be a bit of a trick on the Skimmer invoicing side to make sure that it was either to commercial or residential. There's a few ways to do that. So it's a little bit of a deeper dive on how you do it, but the big answer is yes. And you'll see that in this particular pool company, they do pool cleaning and they do pool repair. And so yes, on purpose, we want to sort that out. And we want to see both. The other way you can do it is if I change this to classes. The other way is you would tag, if they're a commercial, or not tag, you would use a class and you would assign a class to your commercial pools. So we'll just imagine that this one says residential for O2 and commercial for O3. Without actually seeing how your QuickBooks is set up, that's probably as far as I can go. It'd take a little bit of manual update in order to do it, but it is possible. Did that help?
So it'd be a reclassification of what's already coming in, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to kind of think about that a minute, because if I remember correctly, and Bree, you might be able to answer this, or Niki, either one. On the Skimmer side, when you set up that pool service invoice, like the that's tracking that route, scheduled route, I believe you just choose one income account regardless if it's residential or commercial. And if my memory is correct, then once it got to QuickBooks, she would have to reassign classes to or reassign the product, but there may be a workaround.
Right, you're correct, Sharon. So it would link from one on the skimmer side or one income account, but then we could readjust it so that every time moving forward, it goes to the correct income account in QBO.
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, there is a way to do it.
Yes.
Next.
Next question. How does this work if our accounting firm has full access to our QBO account, our QuickBooks account? And I was asked at the beginning, so I'm assuming the context here is, can I still build these reports and also have my accounting firm have access
Yeah,
to the QBO
yeah,
account?
absolutely. Typically, and I've had this request recently a few times because I'm not I don't take on bookkeeping clients. I just help set up their books. So in those cases, I typically meet with the owner to find out what they're looking for, like understand their business and then give suggestions of, okay, I think this is probably the report you're looking for. Is that what you're thinking? And then we create a connection with the accountant or the bookkeeper, that accounting firm, because you don't want to screw up what they have going on, and just make sure everybody's in alignment and they understand. And then if that accounting firm is, yeah, cool, we can shift to how we do that transaction, which typically is the way it goes. Then it's just an adjustment on how you're setting up your products and services, and how you're booking your expenses, and that automatically creates those reports we're talking about. Did they answer the question?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Got another one from Chansey. We are adding different streams of income, repairs, parts, etc. We need to start keeping them financially separate. Do you have any advice for Chansey on that note?
Yeah, I'm kind of showing that as I'm sharing my screen. That's exactly what I would do. I would have, when you have, well, first of all, on the skimmer side, you have the option of doing a manual entry or having your products and services, your products listed in Skimmer. And I would highly recommend putting the products in Skimmer, because then you can customize them when they connect to QuickBooks. It will automatically make them flow. I mean, this is pretty close to what he was saying. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger on this side. So this is a great example. In this particular company, we're saying that they charge not a monthly flat rate, but they do a line item for labor for the pool cleaning service plus the chemicals that are added. And then if they do a repair, they charge for the labor, and then they charge for the sales of those parts. And this is how it's broken down so that you can see it in totals in one report, which is typically the only way that like a tax preparer or an accountant would look at it. But you as a business owner, you can see it this way. And there's your cost of repair and maintenance parts, your cost of chemicals sold. But then you can look at it as, how are we doing in each of those channels of pool cleaning versus pool repair? So you see the income, you see the cost of goods sold in those columns. And then you can also allocate other expenses. So the answer is yes. And this is an example of that. Hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, and Kimberly added a comment here. The products and services list can be assigned classes, so separate P and S items for residential versus commercial. So parts and
Yeah.
service items. And yeah, to your point too, it is a lot easier if you have your products inside of Skimmer, so all that feeds over.
Yeah. If not, if you do manual entry, then you're forcing yourself to have to rebook everything in QuickBooks. If you go on the front end of that and you add the products and services in Skimmer, then you can assign the income and expense account. And then the next time that same product is used, it will keep that intact.
That's super
Okay.
helpful. We've got a question from Jordan, and his question is, in your consultation services, can you go through and help me set mine up like this? And I will answer that for you, Sharon. Yes, she can. My partner runs a full service business, and she's doing it for him. It's always great to look at how much revenue comes in, but when I asked him how much net profit that equated to, he was like, I have no idea. And so
And that's very common, by the way.
yeah,
Like
there's a
that's
ton of
not,
people out there. Like there are a lot of people who are like
yeah.
really great at pools, and I don't have a business degree either. So there's obviously, there's a whole body of knowledge, not only around finance and all of these types of, statements, but also the trickery to get it set up correctly in QuickBooks so that you have the accurate reporting that you need to know the health of your business and know what your margins are. So that is a part of what Sharon offers, and part of the reason why that we wanted to have her on, right? None of us can kind of do this alone. And so to have partners like Sharon who can help by just doing it for you is great. It's great for Skimmer. It's great for you. And also great for Sharon too. She's really good at this.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I could feel my internet going out. So I took my video off from it. I'm going to try a stop share here too, see if that helps. And to what that looks like is I meet with whomever that person is, whoever you are, and I want to really learn your business and what you call things. It's interesting how different people call maintenance and service mean different things to different pool businesses. So making sure to get the words that you actually use and use those in your QuickBooks. So I do the setup part and the training part. And so it's kind of an upfront lift and then an ongoing relationship until the training wheels are off and you're like, yeah, I got it, or whoever has it and can take off and do it on their own.
Yeah, and Andrea is asking how you bill for that, and maybe it's a good opportunity too for you to talk about your upcoming video training that you're going to be releasing.
Yeah, so I have quickly found out that there's not enough of me in time. So excuse me, I'm recovering from a cold. So what I do is I'm building an online course right now where somebody could, in essence, go in and do it all by themselves. Obviously, it would be customized as far as a generality. If you want to take it one step further, then it could be a combination of hiring me to do the upfront. It really depends on, I don't know if you want me to talk about rates, but there's a flat fee up front on how much it would cost to get you set up. And there's I have a QR code that we'll put back up there in a minute that you can screenshot, but it's a flat rate if you're brand new, and then it's a recurring $100 a month until you no longer need me. But I have found that people typically need me for a few months to get going and be able to ask questions and do that. So I think what's going to be the winning combination that will help is I get people set up and then they can use that online course to go in and go, okay, how do I do that transaction again? And do that on their own. And that's your resource. So I'm launching that. And I will have something on my website page where you can see that, but that'll be launching very shortly, within a week.
And so, Chanty, I hope that answers your question about how many sessions would be involved to help Sharon help you set up your QBO with proper classes.
Okay, I didn't, yes, I'll speak to that. It starts like this. It's a one-on-one, it's a 30-minute free call to make sure I'm a right fit. I understand what you have and I can actually help you. And I'll take a look, we'll screen share on Zoom like we're doing now. You'll screen share your QuickBooks so I can actually see what's going on. That's kind of the fastest way. Then we talk about what I think would be the best option for you. Then I go away and take notes from that. I connect to your QuickBooks as a accountant. I'm not your accountant, but it allows me to go in, do that work on your behalf, but you have an audit trail of exactly what I did. We would do this in cooperation with your bookkeeper accountant if you already have one on board to make sure I'm not messing up anything that they have and that we're in alignment. And then I would reconnect and say, okay, it's ready. Let's have another Zoom call so I can show you what this is looking like. This is the type of report it's going to generate. Is this looking good to you? If any edits need to be made, then we make those edits. And then from that point forward, you would have access to training videos for yourself or the person that you're designating to do your bookkeeping, so that they can go, okay, I had this expense come in. How do I book this? I had this income come in. How do I book this? It will include, if you use Skimmer, how that works, how that connection works, how to set up the integration, and how to troubleshoot. If you are a one-on-one client with me, then I can go in and do a customized video in your QuickBooks, in your Skimmer account, that only you are going to see those videos, so that you're seeing exactly what you see. And then we do a monthly retainer, which currently is $100, and I'll honor that. Anybody that signs up right now, $100 retainer for up to an hour of support every month until you no longer need me, and then you can book additional time. So it's kind of a combination of how that works. Okay, I think that was a little clearer.
Totally. Nate Snyder's asking for a template for the statement of account that you shared. Is that something you can share with either in the community or through a consultation?
A consultation, definitely. I'm hesitant to just do that blanket because there's a little bit of it depends on your situation. If you went in and just used what I had and put that on top of what you already have going on, it could create a mess that would cost you more to have somebody to undo. So I don't share that without looking at your books and talking to you, because I don't want to be responsible for that mess. But yes.
And while we have a couple more questions, it looks like some folks are typing some questions, but while they're doing that, I will make a note too. So Bree's on the call, and Bree is a technical account manager for Skimmer Billing. And she has also worked closely with Sharon. So if you get to a point where you're stuck or you need help mapping where the skimmer fields need to go inside of QuickBooks, we do have resources on staff to be able to help you with that. I will say that if you are using Skimmer Billing, it is a game changer for folks that have started using Skimmer Billing. You know, it's super easy to get your customers set up with auto pay, so that for regular service, you still get a chance to look at the invoice. You can review it, and if you're good, you can scroll through them. If they're good, you hit go, and it'll automatically bill the customer, and you'll see that deposit automatically made in just a few days. I will also share that we will have some news in January around a customer portal that has currently been released to our existing Skimmer Billing customers. It's being released now. And so that is another great way for your customers to be able to get set up, provide their credit card information in a secure way so that they can be billed. And we'll be adding additional functionality to that customer portal as well. Richard has one last question. How can I have the monthly invoice show previous running payments? For example, a running balance of what is owed. I want the client to see the month or balance they didn't pay. Bree, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just rereading it myself.
So if somebody is past due, how do I get that past due amount conveyed to the customer? I think the customer portal will help with that for sure. But do you have another way to accomplish that task?
Yeah, so well, right now it will be the customer portal, which we did, as Nikki mentioned, has been early released today for all of our Skimmer billing customers. And then I know, Richard, you were originally referring to the QBO sync. So we also do have an option there to send over all previous balances over to QBO.
And I'm going to put Sharon's link in the chat now. If you're interested in connecting with Sharon, it's poolservicequickbooks.com/skimmer. And I know she mentioned we've been keeping her pretty busy with folks that need help in getting their QuickBooks set up. So definitely get on her calendar and book some time, especially coming into the new year. This is a really, really great time to kind of reset, get your books right for the new year, get ready for tax time for 2024. Regarding multiple income accounts in QBO, would that be an automated process since all income from Skimmer dumps into a single income account?
That's what we were talking about a little bit earlier. And so Bree kind of answered that as well. So yes, it does all come into one account, but then you could adjust it with a class or rebook it on the QuickBooks side. Now we're talking about pool service. Pool repairs is totally different. Pool repairs, that's where it's so important to put your products and services in Skimmer. And then when you're creating those invoices for your work orders, your work repair work, sorry, then that would automatically be booked in the right place when it came over.
That might require its own workshop, I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I was just like, oh, how granular do I go on that?
Richard says, one more, I promise. How do I schedule once invoices are reviewed, invoices to go out at a specific time of day? I usually hit send email, but I found my clients don't always review emails early morning before my route. They think it's spam. I find that they view their emails midday. I think the answer to that question would be dependent on whether you're using auto invoicing or not. So if you're not using our auto invoicing, which I highly suggest if you're charging the exact same amount every single month, if not, if you want to send your invoices out at a particular time, as soon as you hit send, they will begin to send. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bree. So if you want them to go out a little bit later in the day, then you would need to hit that send email button later on in the day because it does trigger once you hit that send button. Now, the automated reminders for late payments, you can set those out and customize those, and those you can schedule out when you want those to hit. But for regular invoices, as soon as you hit send, they're going to send the invoices. Ooh,
Correct.
Yeah, if you can set up auto charge, that's awesome. Bree, you go ahead and respond to that in more detail.
No, yeah, I was gonna say Nikki's correct in her answer. I would definitely suggest just setting up those reminders, especially if your customers are not really looking at their emails too frequently.
Yeah.
And then if you are on auto invoicing, I would suggest then maybe sending it out a day before, Richard. But we could definitely take a look at your account offline as well, or off of this webinar too, just to make sure we have that going correctly.
You
And
know, when we did
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to pop in because this comes up a lot with clients too, coming in. There's the way that we've always done things, and then there's always we have a certain clientele that are elderly, don't check email, you know, so you're always going to have a few like paper invoices you send out or something. But once you start to transition and you take on new customers and you just say, what's your credit card or your ACH that you want to connect? This is how we work. We auto charge it at this time. If you ever see a problem, we'll be happy to make a correction. But this is the way we do business. It's funny how that will just start to increase. And there seems to be a fear sometimes that you can't change the way you've done things. But if you bring on new customers and you just do the auto charge, this issue of chasing money starts to go away or is reduced a ton, you know, from if that makes sense. So I highly recommend auto charging. And even if you think your customers are going to push back on you, there will be a few that's been with you for a long time, but you'll also be surprised at the people who are like, oh, this is great. I don't have to think about it. It just happens.
Yeah,
So.
we've done webinars in the past with a guy named Kyle Peter out of California, and he had like a ridiculous number of chronic late payers. These are the people that just, for whatever reason, they
Right.
just would not pay their bill. And he was like, look, if we're going to continue service, we've got to get you on auto pay. And he had like something crazy, like it was like 99% of people that signed up. He had like 2 holdouts. So,
Yeah.
and look, as you know, as a pool owner myself, like everything I have is on auto pay. I don't want to have to think about paying that pool service invoice if I know y'all are going to come and do the work every month. Like I don't have to take time out of my day to go and manually pay it. So I think, for a lot of people, I think it's a pretty acceptable thing these days for recurring subscription type services like pool service to be able to put that on auto pay. I think
Yeah.
it's fear is the number one reason why people don't push that on their customers or don't want to propose it.
Right. You'll
Uh,
be surprised. A lot of people appreciate it.
this is a really good, I think, last question. What version of QuickBooks do you need to purchase?
To do the reports that I was showing you and be able to have that flexibility of classes, including especially like that owner add backs class, you need QuickBooks Online Plus. So it's not the top tier, but it's not the bottom tier, but it'll be worth it in the reports you can create. So QuickBooks Online Plus. Great question.
That is a great question. All right. And I think that's it. We've got all our questions answered. Thank you all to those of you who are still here. Thank you for sticking around. Again, Skimmer is available to help. Sharon is available to help. If you have any questions that we did not get to, we're going to send this presentation out as a follow-up email, and we will be monitoring that. So if you have any questions, once we send that email out, feel free to reply to that email. That'll come to me and I can route you to the right place. And we hope to bring you more of these in the future. When you log off, you'll see a 2-question survey. If you could take a moment to answer that, it would be greatly appreciated. Sharon, thank you so much for making the time to join us today. And thank you again to all of our attendees. And we'll see you on the next one. Everyone say bye.
Bye.